Hey guys, Craig Allen here. Welcome to another episode of No Edits. This is my good friend Jeff, and Jeff is in the trading world. For those of you who are into stocks, investment, sales, and things like that, this is the guy you kind of want to call. You want to give him your number afterwards, but can you tell him how long you've been in the industry, what specifically that you do in the trading world?
Yeah, I've been in the business now 30 years. I started off in sales, moved into trading. I'm a portfolio trader. I trade baskets for large institutions, hedge funds, and pension funds, which is my real joy. I just love, and I actually work for a firm where I work for my client. No proprietary trading, so there's no conflict of interest. So it brings me great joy. It's it really is kind of difficult because you're really hard on yourself. But my job is to minimize how much it costs for someone to buy and sell their stock, and every dollar I save saves them for retirement. So it's pretty fulfilling at times.
And that's interesting. I just read a report the other day that people just are not saving for retirement.
No, I totally agree with that. I think most of the numbers are somewhat made up when you look at the savings rate, because the savings is on its top 1%, maybe top 5%. Everyone else is barely getting by.
So they don't even have enough to kind of save that money to retire.
Right.
When they retire.
I don't believe they have the money. This is just my opinion. I don't believe they have the money to retire. I think they're barely getting by. It's really been tough lately. Inflation is much more rampant than the government will admit. But you got to do what you need to do.
401k. It's something that the government offers. Is it still relevant to the average worker?
I think it is. I think if you're fortunate enough to be able to save and your employer will match, you're saving before taxes, and it grows pre-tax. Grows, so it will grow faster. So it's relevant. The issue is people got to contribute. They got to do it themselves. So there's no safety net other than Social Security right now. But it's relevant even if you're changing jobs, because you can move on to another job and put in another qualified plan. But it's just the issue is not enough people putting money in, and they're just not saving.
And then, I'm gonna be honest with you, Jeff. I think a lot of the issue too is that people just don't know a basic FIFA. The FICA score. They don't even know the three components that make it up, or the many components that make it up. They don't even know how to do their own credit or check their own credit score, or what it takes to gain credit.
Right.
Could you educate people on what it takes to even gain credit?
I think one of the things you really need to do is you need credit first. So it's hard to get credit right now, especially if you have a little bit of student loans, you don't have a good job, but you need credit, and then you need to pay it off, and you need to be on time. That's the main thing. That's how you build up your credit.
And not in a lump sum.
No. Well, you don't want to ever carry too big of a balance, but you don't want to necessarily pay off every bill every month, because that doesn't help your credit score. So they want to. I don't understand it, but that's how it seems to work. So you want to pay off the majority of it, and leave a little bit, and then charge a little more, and pay off the majority of it. And you might want to just pay it off. But it's just even hard to get your FICO score. It costs money to get your own FICO score. So
just something to think about before you even think about investing.
Right.
You want to invest in that credit score first.
Well, you always want to put money away. Your credit score is your credit score. You can't really control it in a lot of cases. You have one bad month, 2 bad months, you get laid off, you end up with bad credit. But you could always, as long as you have money, you could always save. And it compounds. You got to remember, every dollar you save, the next year hopefully it's like $1.05, and then you're compounding $1.05, and then it's $1.11. So it should grow exponentially in a normalized market, and that's why saving is really important. That's why you want to start at really young age. The earlier the better, even if it's $25 a month. Get into the habit of saving.
But if you live in New York, you should probably start saving when you're an infant.
Wow, if you live in New York, you're gonna be lucky to save. But the cost of living in New York is just exorbitant right now.
And I think we can go on and on about that. But you're a big music guy.
I am. I spend most of my free time going to concerts, traveling to New Orleans to see shows. But,
Fire Island, New York.
Yeah, I go to Fire Island a lot, but that's less music scene and more just friends.
Friends living your life. You took me to a show once.
Oh yes, that was Langhorne Slim, right?
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, he's an interesting guy. I actually saw him a couple times from Philadelphia. He's from Pennsylvania. He moved to Brooklyn, and he's kind of like a rock and roll country, but he's a really talented guy. It's a fun show.
Yeah.
It's an eclectic crowd. It's
like Jamiroquai a little bit.
Yeah,
a little
exactly.
something.
Yeah, exactly.
You put me onto that one young rock guy
Oh,
He's been blowing up ever since.
Oh yeah, Gary Clark Jr. Been seeing him for years. He's actually playing summer stage in September. I think it's September 6th. But he's like probably the greatest guitarist in the world. Definitely the greatest guitarist in the world.
They compare him to Jimi Hendrix.
Jimi Hendrix had a particular style. I don't know if there'll ever be a Jimi Hendrix.
Probably not. Scott played the guitar with his teeth.
Yeah, I mean, but he had the longest ass fingers you've ever seen.
You can say that, Jeff.
Okay.
There's no edit.
So, he just wrapped his fingers around a guitar. So I don't know if there'll be anyone like him. But there's actually a little kid traveling around right now. He's played with Robert Randolph. He's played with, I believe, OAR. But it's this little kid, Taz. He's 10 years old. He's been ripping it up. Especially there's a NOLA scene, which is New Orleans musicians. They come up here and they play, thank God, come up here and play for us. But this kid, Taz, you should look him up. He's all over the internet. And, I think you enjoy seeing him. He's such a cool little kid.
So any last advice, people who maybe aspire to get into the trading business, what it takes?
Right now, when I started, I was fortunate because I have no college. I dropped out of college. And back then, all you need to do is make your firm money. Right now, if you don't have a PhD at one of the top universities, it's almost impossible to get into the business. It's changed. It's just changed. It's really difficult. So the most important, critical thing is get an education right now.
So stay in school.
Stay in school.
Don't become a rapper. Stay in school first.
Yes.
Then think about rapping. Maybe come back to trading later.
I think anything in life, if you get your education, you could always, that's your fallback. Hopefully that's your fallback.
One last thing, man. I got to ask you this because it's current right now. The situation that's going on in Ferguson, Missouri. I think you're very well aware of that. What are your thoughts on that?
I haven't seen any of the tapes. I believe the police in this country are just way over-equipped. You can't give military-style weapons or anything to some untrained personnel. You can't. These guys don't take the same psychological tests as the armed forces. These armed forces are much better trained. You just listen to some of the guys in Iraq and Afghanistan. They don't even have this type of weaponry. They really are now. They're an army within our country, which is not even constitutional. I just think the whole thing's...
They make the National Guard look like pussies. In regards to how they overstep that line of aggression.
Right. When police are killing 400 Americans a year, I know some of them you can't help, but I think 400 is just way too many. And it's just, that whole mess is just a mess.